How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books. It's found on the battlefield.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to introduce you to the amazing guest that we have today. His name is Rick Yee, and he is from Warriors Way Mindset. Thank you so much for being with me here today.
It's an honor, Brooke. Thank you.
Well, we are excited. We have a very interesting conversation and plan for you. Rick and I were speaking before the record ever started, and I said, you are already educating me, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, he's giggling. He's like, oh my goodness, Brooke. I just really want to jump in. What is a warrior way mindset, and how does it differ from what you see in the world generally?
It's a good question. Right now, there's a lot of people who want to share information. Check out my content, check out my information. The Warriors Way mindset focuses far more on transformation than information. It's not about just watch the content. Wow, it's good, and our stuff works, and I only have anything for every single step that we talk about is a practice. It's a skill, and we have to do the work to improve. So there is no wasted time in our training. Even the Warriors Way training boot camp is 14 weeks just to start, and oftentimes it goes over because we're so thorough. So we focus on transformation, not just information. We do the deep work. We rip out belief systems that do not belong to you. We find your authenticity, and even the first 5 weeks is just know thyself before I teach you how to fight the enemies within, which is doubt, fear, distractions, excuses, anger, depression, denial, bargaining, anxiety. I'll teach you how to beat all of them because they all have a weakness. And so I train people to be warriors to fight in the battlefield of the mind. Toughest fight there is.
It is the toughest fight. I think as someone who falls on the younger end of the spectrum, it's easy to justify and easy to say, I'm going to fight this in 5 years, or I'm going to fight this in 10 years. And I know that we're talking to people that are younger right now. You know, for a younger person getting involved in this conversation and getting involved in fighting their own fear and insecurity and problems, what advice do you have, and how did you get started? When did you get started in fighting yours?
All right. That's a double question. All right. So
it's a loaded question, a loaded double question.
All right. I'll start backwards and then we'll work to the front. All right. So how did I get to where I am? I grew up in a place that I call Sparta. I grew up in not a good part in Detroit. So it's not a healthy, happy environment. If you ever watched the movie 8 Mile, I grew up on 8 Mile. And so this wasn't a fun place. You know, I also wasn't the one who was going to lose myself in the music the moment you heard it. I wasn't rapping and doing rap battles.
Did you throw an Eminem reference out?
That's exactly what I did.
I'm from Ohio.
Okay. Well, you had one shot, one opportunity.
Exactly.
Did you capture it, or did you let it slip?
Oh, I love that song.
I'm still going.
That was so good at the Super Bowl, too, by the way. Yeah. And it's so amazing. We can be such good friends because Ohio State, Michigan, all that jazz.
Yeah. Oh, they're the best of friends, Michigan and Ohio.
Oh, my.
But in any case, I grew up in a not very nice environment. And so when I grew up in Sparta, and this goes from anybody who I've talked to who has had abusive homes, I've had every type of abuse that you can have. I was able to check off everything from abandonment, physical, emotional, like abuse. We had to go through addictions. We had a lot of stuff that we had to go through. The only thing I can't mark in for myself personally was sexual abuse. And, maybe if there's a repression I haven't gotten to yet, I don't know. So other than that, I should be an insane person. And I've done a lot of work just in myself and working with others to find what are the best practices to break the curses that are put on us from our families. And breaking generational curses is one of the main things that we do in the Warriors Way because many people are trying to read the books, but not a lot of people have come from hell. And so if you grew up there, it's a lot easier to go, I know where you're at, so I'm coming to get you. And that's the difference on this is a lot of the education that I've gotten afterwards is going to be like, reading books, getting certifications and those things. But the best coaches and the best teachers I've seen are the ones who grew up in hard knocks, the ones who have been there. So there's a lot of that. I've been doing this now for over a decade professionally. I built multiple versions of what this is, and it's evolved over time. I've built tools that I've run through by multiple psychologists, authors, and coaches, and they're like, these are the best tools I've seen so far. And there's some pretty cool stuff that we've done. Now, the next part to it is how do I apply this to a younger generation, and how do we take this stuff and make it so that we can help out some of the younger people? there's rules that we have in the Warrior's Way. This is called the Creed. There's 7 different rules, and I'll probably bring up different ones that come in here. There's a couple things if I were to give the younger generation some tools to practice. The first one would start with an awareness of things. Awareness is an actual skill. This isn't something you're born with or don't have. And this goes outside and inside. Did you recognize that, or did you know that? One of the tools that I want to leave with you guys just to start off with is what I call the Epictetus compass. I use this to find people for where they are. Epictetus was a Stoic philosopher, and so he was big in Stoicism. The quote that he had was a little more, doesn't define a man, so let's make it a little more, gender neutral. The quote I use the most is that your circumstances do not define you. They reveal you to yourself. So the way that you just handle that, or how you treated somebody, or the way that you just responded or reacted, that's who you are. That's you. And a lot of times we don't have the awareness of I am that. And they'll go like, hey, you just lied about that person, or you just said one thing to them and another to another person, or you just betrayed that person, or you just, abandoned that entire thing, or you, lashed out and beat that person up. And like the reality is you're a liar, or you're two-faced, or you're a betrayer, or you're, a rage monster or an abusive person. And being able to go like, it's not about what happened, it's how you're handling what happens that shows you who you are. The beauty of this type of awareness makes it so you don't get to go into justifications and excuses. I can go, shit, that's who I am. And then you reveal choice. Well, you don't have to be. You can stop doing that now that you see it. You can decide to be different. You can decide to evolve from there. And people will make a justification that like, yeah, well, because somebody did it to me, it's okay. Or yeah, well, they deserved it. And we start going against the golden rule. I can treat them in a way I'd never want to be treated, with impunity, fully okay. The recognition there is, if you look at it, people really do struggle with the truth, and we don't challenge anything. We should challenge ourselves. And that's one of the rules in the Warrior's Way. The last one is challenge everything. Ask questions. Why? Have you ever seen I've seen a 3-year-old win debates on grown-ups with why. I've seen them lose the argument. Well, why?
I love a 3-year-old because they're not ashamed, right, to ask the question. And that's where some of our older people and our adults, we fall off because we get ashamed and we won't be curious anymore.
Correctamundo. This comes to the second part. The second rule is no blame, no shame, no judgment. Count the judgments. This is how people are manipulating and controlling people these days. You're good. You're bad. You're skinny. You're fat. You're tall. You're short. You're right. You're wrong. You're left. You're right. You're good. You're bad for this thing, that thing. We judge everybody. Everyone's judging everybody. Mm-hmm. Everyone's trying to be the authority of what is good and bad. That's what we are. Now, the thing is we are social creatures. We want to fit in. And so a judgment can easily be a manipulative way to make it so you feel out of place. If I said, oh, you're wearing pink to this? Oh,
I don't like pink. That's Legally Blonde vibes. That's not good.
I thought this was supposed to be some sort of an intelligent podcast. Mm-hmm. I just threw a couple bullshit judgments just out of nowhere. I just made up judgments. I just made accusational opinions up. No research, no questions, no anything. I just made up a color equals bad. Now, you may go, fuck you, dude. Like, that may be a first reaction, but underneath that is like, maybe I shouldn't have wore the pink. Or next time, if you're with a group of people who are like, don't wear pink to this, what are you doing? Next time when you're picking out a shirt, you'll go, don't wear the pink. That's right. And these subtle things for that judgment starts changing who you are because you start adjusting yourself to fit in to where you want to belong. This is really, really difficult for that concept of being able to be authentic, be true to yourself, know thyself, because how much of yourself do you compromise to make sure you fit in with somebody else? And it seems like there doesn't have a heavy limit or boundaries for most people, especially young, because getting exiled, especially ladies, exiled from a group, kicked out, not invited, it's causing massive psychological damage because women aren't doing that well at this level of rejection. But these technologies are becoming weaponized, especially on women. Now, guys are having their own issues, but the psychological negativity, it's like in the single digits for like watching the uptick. And usually guys are just more getting wrapped up in the porn aspect of it versus the bullying aspect of it. So like that's a whole nother thing too for like, gratification and rejection. That's a whole nother thing. But for ladies, the self-harm, like the negative impact, the comparison curses, it's like a bike ramp watching the numbers of what's going on from girls from middle school up.
Mm-hmm. And it's sad and it's hard. And I love what you said about social creatures because we are, and for women, and I've even done a lot of studies on this myself, we are even more social than men. Not to say that men aren't social, but we're very, very birds of a feather flock together type of people. And if you don't have the same belief system or the same values or the same integrity, what are you going to do?
That's why women rank higher in agreeableness.
Mm-hmm.
Even if
and I'm very agreeable.
Even if you don't agree. Like, oh my God, she is so, and you're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, she's not the greatest, sure. Instead of going like, don't tear people down.
Right.
Like you won't stand against her. Now guys are less agreeable. So like, what are you dogging on her for? Like, what are you putting her down? Like, we'll be less agreeable. And this is where like, well, you guys are combative. You guys are aggressive. You guys are mean. Again, judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Count the judgments. This is how people are controlling people. Mm-hmm. I would raise your awareness 100-fold to how many times people are giving an opinion and how does it affect you?
And how does your body feel, right, when you are judging? That's something that I really like to measure is after I do something, let's say I do Pilates or let's say I gossip with a friend on the phone, how does your body feel? Because that is usually a big telltale sign.
How does your body feel? Like,
right. And usually after gossiping, it does not feel good. You see this less energy. You usually feel just, down, kind of retreative inwards. It's not a good feeling.
Right.
And so often that's how people bond.
Yeah. Well, especially because women rank 3 times higher in negativity than guys. Guys we don't talk the same way. We really don't. When I work with hundreds of men. Do you know how common negativity and gossip around our women come up? You would think it's all the time. Like, oh my God, my girl sucks. It's so rare. We don't do that. Like it's super rare, but every women's group within the first 2 weeks, it's like, this is not a group to bash on your guy. Stop it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Warrior, thank you so much for being a part of the information that we have. And you're part of our story as we are a part of yours. It's very much an honor to be able to connect with each other. If you want to know more or you want to get started with working with me or working with our warriors so that you can begin your path to authenticity, strength, leadership, and accountability, this is the way. Together, we are way stronger. Now you get to choose. Do you go forward or keep doing what you've always done? If you stay where you're at, hey, click on some of the stuff and follow what it is. We got motivational stuff. We've got podcasts. We've got more things. Just subscribe and do the stuff and we'll keep you updated. But if you want to start going in, start jumping into what our programs offer and start your journey and being the hero in your own story.
That is a little, and you're convicting me even of, yeah, I've done that because it's been easy.
It is
and that's
easy.
why,
well, you get
hair
approval,
salons,
you
and
get
stuff.
attention, you get acceptance. People, if you listen, riddle me this, tell me this isn't true. You see another girl come up like, hey guys, I just had that test, got like 110%, so nailed it. And you're like, oh, good job. And then she'll leave and someone's going to be like, she thinks she's so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Right, and we've all said that.
Why knock her down? Yeah, I know. She thinks she's better than me just because I didn't get 105%. Why is that there? Because it gets fed. There is no challenge everything. There is no challenge. There's no like, why are you putting somebody down? Does it really make you feel better? Oh, no, because then they'll go, oh, you're not one of us anymore. And so here we are, suppressing our authenticity, suppressing what we believe is right because we don't want to be judged ourselves. It's a control system for safety that we make sure others perceive us the way we want them to. And so we call the shots. I'll only show you what I want you to see, and then I'll act the way I believe you want me to act, so I fit in.
Mm-hmm.
What do you sacrifice to be that?
And it's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of people.
What's
If
the
someone is
price
wanting
tag?
to
What's the cost?
take, the cost is high. I love these distinctions that you're making too between men and women, because one of the reasons we wanted to bring you on this podcast, Rick, is we don't have as much male representation talking about, you know, self-compassion, authenticity, treating others with kindness and respect. We don't get these male leadership and these male voices in this space. And it's something that even I am learning so much from you as a female. And I can't discount the power of having a man lay this out in this way for us to listen to.
Yeah. Well, in that case, hit me with some hard questions, Brooke. What is something if like I want the guy who speaks for the men and I got a question? This is what us ladies are like, what's up with these guys?
I know. And
Give me
we
a
have
good one.
some male viewership too. Ooh, let's see if I can hit you with a good one.
Give me one.
I think, I was liking that you were talking about the differences between the ways that men and women approach groups and containers. That's so true for college too. I think that men and women come in with different wants, with different social needs, with different expectations.
Sure.
Where do you think, because we see a lot of negative press around younger people and TikTok and those platforms, how do you think that young men are being poorly represented, right? Because I think that's a big problem. When you are represented poorly, like you're some sort of, monster, or, you only want certain things. We all know what I'm talking about. How do you think that impacts, and how can you work against that?
All right. There's a lot of pieces here. All right. So first off,
I did hit you with a hard one, didn't I?
I'm proud of you. Good job.
Thank you.
So, all right. What are guys loved for?
Ooh. I mean, in my opinion,
what do we love
I'm
for?
just going to throw it out. I feel very safe.
For safety, security, we got to protect. We're protectors, right? What else are guys loved for?
Honesty, in my opinion.
Okay, what's honesty? Because everyone's a liar. So tell me what honesty is. You're not honest. I'm not honest. Everyone lies. Everybody lies.
They're a little more open. You know what I mean? To share their opinions and their belief systems.
Okay, so they're open with you, or you can be open with them without them judging you.
I think vice versa. I think both.
We like to think so. Okay, so I'll challenge that, because my next book goes really deep on what is truth, and we're all bullshit. So, anyways,
I gotta read some Rick books.
Yeah, this next one's a lightning bolt. All right, so the first one's indifferent. This one goes, this one's hard. Okay, so what are guys loved for? If you'll notice, if you probably start going down this list, it's very, 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 very unlikely on the list is going to be for who they are.
He just saw my eyes bug out.
It's not going to be on your list. I've done surveys with the women. I had like an 85 point list, and not one thing for what's a guy loved for was for who he is. It's for what we provide. It's for what we can give. It's for what we will bring to the table. Could you imagine going on a date and going like, hey, Brooke, oh God, thanks for waiting up for me. I already picked out a place we're going to live. It's going to be really nice. It's going to be near my parents, so that'll be cool. And you're going to go, whoa. I don't know anything about you yet. And I'm like, oh my God, just love me for who I am. What are we doing? Could you imagine?
Right.
No,
and that's
no second date
that's
for
higher
you.
up for women, right?
That's,
Well,
tell me when a woman comes in thinking they're the interviewer, what are they bringing to the table? This is where there's a switch that happens during this college time. There's a switch that happens that we don't talk about from teenager to adult. It's during this time where this impact in who I am starts getting really fuzzy. So let's hear it. Like from your age range right now, what do you bring to the table?
Sure. I think, wow, Rick's going to hit me with it, everyone. We're going to get super deep. I like to think that I'm a nurturing person.
Okay,
a lot of people
nurture. We got
a lot of people call me very intuitive. Rick, it's pretty scary. I can always text someone when I know they need it. So intuitive. I like to believe that I'm fun. I really do.
All right. So far we got fun, intuitive, and we got nurturing.
Yeah.
How do I measure these to know you got a lot or a little, like it's good or bad? How do I go like, this one's really great because they have a lot of nurturing, a lot of fun.
I would traditionally say the way someone makes you feel, but I think you're gonna You're gonna jockey me on that one there.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not calling you wrong. Let's just see what we got. We're not judging yet. We're just going, what is it? What do we have? Right.
Right.
And so I don't have a measurement tool to go like, oh, Brooke is level 8 on this, and she's a 6 on this, and a 10 on this, because 6, 8, and 10 of what? We don't have a tool. There's no unit of measurement. I just make up a feeling, and that's what her number I just made up is. So I don't even have any scale here. I just have to go off of a feeling.
Right.
I like how Brooke makes me feel. Now, this is where women are in a struggle, where guys are in a struggle too, is women not only have burden of beauty. Fair enough, right? Yeah, and usually harder on each other than guys are on you.
Yes. Okay,
so burden of beauty's been there for a while, still there. But now women have burden of performance. Now you got to compete too. Now you got to go with the wolves, and you got to get, your degree? You have to be in your career. You have to be focused on providing also, which is very interesting times. Now, as a guy, how valuable does your career and your provisions, do you think, rank on a man's dating system?
I think they rank extremely low.
Yeah. And yet, what is all the focus for women being put on?
Career.
Oh, shit. So that means you're a value when it comes to the date. I have a PhD, or I run a business, or I have money, or I have this. And we're like, none of those. Or you're not giving any of those to me. Could you imagine if you did well in your career and on the date I was like, so what's my cut?
Yeah, that'd be a little strange. And let me tell you, Rick,
I'm already feeling bad.
I heard this a month ago. I don't understand what you do. And I said, that's okay. You don't have to. And he was someone that was very interested in me. He was like, I really don't get your types of businesses. I said, that's okay, because it didn't matter to him.
Yeah. And it is nothing that you're going to be providing for him, because your job for us isn't provider. And your job for us also isn't protection. And so women go like, I bring all of these things to the table that guys are like, it's not on my list of things that I require from somebody else. Well, now you're seeing, this is an interesting statistic for the women in college growing up. It's the first time in humanity that there are more women over 30 without children than women under 30 with children. The first time in human history is in our life. There's something happening where now you're seeing a lot more older women who are career focused, who do not have the skills to even vet a man. So they don't even know what they're bringing to the table. And guys don't know what we're supposed to be doing with that. Now let's go back to the boys. Now, remember, love me for who I am, not on the list. We don't get that. But women still have love me for who I am.
Right. And I think I'm going to start incorporating that more. It's something that's really been a great perspective shift for me.
All right. So love me for who I am as a guy, right? But it's not there. Love me for what you provide. So if you're on a date with a guy, you're going to be like, what's your career focus? What's your 5-year plan? What's your family life look like? What is it? What's your relationship with your mother? Like, what you're going to start going like, I'm looking and vetting all of these things for my own gain. Would you be a good father? Would you be a good, a loyal man? Like, I'm going to go in and like, what are you giving me? What do you get? How much money are you going to make? Are you going to be a doctor, a musician? Are you going to be what? I'm watching. And now I'm rating you based on your potential, especially college guys. Not one thing comes up about what kind of guy are you, because they don't fucking know either. And so like, we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about what projected possible potential do you have? And then I'll base it off of that. Oh, I play sports. I'm an athlete. I'm going to be big time one day. Whatever it is. It's all potential though, because you're not doing shit. So we can't measure off of that. So this is where the whole thing for guys too gets tricky. You went from being loved for being a boy to transition to you're not loved for being a boy. You're loved for being whatever you provide. And you don't have shit yet either as a college guy. I have debt. I don't have a business I run. I don't even have a car. I don't have anything yet. And so what do the girls do, Brooke? What do girls do?
Sometimes we judge, and sometimes we try to social climb.
So who do you date then? Who's got their shit together?
I dated older guys.
You date older guys. Yes, older guys. Shit, college guys. Damn it.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to compete?
From the time I was very young, I dated older people.
How are you supposed to compete with that? Dang it. I don't have my business. I don't have a house. I don't have my car. I don't have status. I don't have safety, security. I don't have all my shit together. I'm still getting into my career. I didn't even graduate yet. How am I supposed to compete with that?
Yeah.
And then also being a young guy, listen, we got to hump everybody. And so that's really difficult because you want loyalty. You want commitment. I want a
Of
guy who's
course.
not going to try and sleep with all my friends. I want a guy who's got some damn morals under his belt, has some principles. Give me a guy who's not going to try and just use me and then abuse me and then throw me in the garbage because he can't appreciate me for being the nurturer, the person who's got a great intuition and looks out for them, the person who can have your back in the tough day, and the person who can make you laugh. You won't appreciate that. You'll use that, and then you'll try and find somebody else who's got a pretty face. Great. So no wonder you're dating up, because older guys are like, I'm not playing that game anymore. Did it, done it, don't want to do it.
Right.
You're my girl. I'm good with it. I don't need to play the field. Field sucks.
The field is exhausting.
It's exhausting. I'm not playing. And so we have to focus so hard on provision and not who we are. This leads us to one of the biggest issues that we're running into as society. Judgment is one of the big ones, and there's two things that people aren't doing. First was challenge everything. We're not thinking. We're not asking to understand. We're not listening. That's a Carl Jung quote that I've added a piece to, which is the second part. Carl Jung quote is, thinking is hard, so people judge instead. We don't ask why, and I'm not seeking to understand, and I don't find it interesting because I'm having my own judgments and opinions, and so anything that you say will just be straw man argument where I just create your intent, and I create what I believe you're trying to do, and I make up what your thoughts would be and what I wouldn't want you to do, and now you have to defend yourself because I just made up all your shit for you.
Right.
Great.
Good
luck
and that's
with
a
that
way
argument.
to work around your own mental work, right?
Oh,
It's a nice little workaround.
Gaslight your own introspection. I don't need to do that. I'm good. They're bad.
Right.
They didn't live up to my needs. Here's a fun fact before I get to the second piece. Did you know that women are cheating more than men these days?
I actually read that.
What
I
the
was
hell?
absolutely shocked.
You know what's funny? Is they don't call it cheating, though. He just wasn't meeting my needs. Denial is the main curse for the ladies.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud to say live on this podcast, I've never done that.
Good,
So I'm proud of
good
myself.
job. And let's just keep it without a yet on there.
Yeah, I've never done
No,
that.
no,
Let's not put a
No
yes.
yets.
Let's not do that.
No yets. This goes to the second part. You want to know what the real struggle is with men? Like
I'm
from these
happy to
guys?
learn.
Here's the hard one. Empathy. Notice that women aren't putting empathy on the table for men. How often do you see anybody care about a man's feelings? Not well-being. Feelings.
I am proud to say, Rick, he's looking at me. I'm proud to say in the past I didn't. But more recently, past 2 years, I've actually been prioritizing it for even my male friends. And it's been a game changer.
Friends is
The
different.
type of
Friends,
conversations I
you
can
can
have.
do it for friends. It's partners that get omitted.
Yeah.
Partners get
True.
omitted. It turns into well-being and not
Hmm.
empathy. I did a survey with over 100 guys. I stopped at 100 because it was the same answer every single time. I said, do your feelings matter to you? And every guy was like, yes, my feelings are important to me. And I said, do you feel like your spouse or girlfriend or fiance, do you feel like your feelings matter to her? 97 out of 100 said, no, my feelings don't matter at all. Well-being, did you have your lunch made? Did you get coffee? Did I wash your clothes? Those are things those are well-being. That's not a feeling. Not one of those is an emotion. I don't care about his feelings because I'm not loving him for him. I'm loving him for what he gives or what he provides.
Mm-hmm.
So guys are focused only on what? Wealth, status, power. We're not looking at humanity as humans anymore. Now, here's the caveat. The 3 guys that said, yeah, I absolutely, she loves me for my feelings. 2 of those guys were in the honeymoon phase and they all broke up. And one guy, they just got divorced. Because he realized he was in a loveless relationship and was in denial.
That's deep.
So shit. That means I have 100% of no empathy for men. Now, the last question was, would you like her to have empathy for you? Would you like your feelings to matter? And they all said yes. Ladies, that means there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for you to look at your man not as something that you get from, but something that you guys can receive from each other. You can care about that guy's heart. And I'll tell you right now, I don't like to be cynical. I don't like it. I don't like to write cynical. I'll write real, but I don't like to be cynical. But there is a degree of awareness that we have to have. It seems like being a guy with a big loving heart these days seems like a waste. There's not enough people who give a shit about that boy's heart. Now, who's suffering the most is these boys growing up, the guys in your age. They're suffering because they're growing up with the one thing you've noticed, which is shame. Shame for being a guy, because there were bad guys. No question. Right. There's some bad guys out there. There's guys that they wouldn't like me because they don't fit in our group because we have accountability. There's bad guys out there. There are. They're not men. Those are guys. Those are just dudes out there. They're not one of us. But the minority gets spoken up as the majority. But that's not the majority.
It's a very interesting point. As someone that I've man bashed, I had a very violent, very abusive stalker for 2 years. And that does change your perception. It changes how you feel.
This one right? And unfortunately, this one dude.
And unfortunately, a lot of stalking and whatnot starts to happen around this age. And so it can paint a very bad color, a very bad picture.
How many guys there didn't stalk you?
Millions.
Yeah, but we counted off of the one in millions.
Right.
And that's what all of them are.
Negative,
now I created
wiring.
System. You created a belief system that because this one guy caused you so much distress, that's what guys do. But you've even done, if you do any study on this and you have confronted hard by some guy in public, I guarantee you it's a guy who takes that guy off. Why? Yeah, because 100%. A majority of us aren't assholes.
Love that.
We're just treated like that. Do you know there's another guy, I forgot the guy's name, but he did a whole thing where he shows this 1 in 100 bar to say the percentage of guys. He's 2% of these guys, this little section here. These are your go out and ask every girl out, go get her, confident guys, right? Shoot your shot. They're going to ask you out, then ask your girlfriend out, then ask your friend out, and then ask them out. They're going to ask everybody out, right? Shoot your shot, guys. And women think that's what confidence is, right? You guys train these guys, by the way. You trained them. You gave him, this is how you get picked, is be confident and then be good on a first date too. Do you know that the next big part of it, and it's close to 70% of guys, are the good guys who don't fuck with your day. They're the guys who see you at Starbucks when you're on the phone, yeah, I got all the coffees for everybody. I'm coming in. He's like, she's busy, man. I don't want to interrupt her. That would just screw up her day. I'm not going to go mess with her, or she's working and I don't want to be rude. And then if they do come and be hey, I didn't want to interrupt you. I think that you're very beautiful and I noticed you and I just want to be, if you're available, I don't know if you're seeing anybody, but if you're not, I'd like to, and they're awkward and they don't know what they're doing and it's weird. And you're like, no, I'm sorry. You just didn't come with that right energy. Slow down there, ladies. The good guys aren't going to come with I shoot my shot on everybody every time energy. You know why? Because they're good guys. And they're not screwing with everybody or trying to screw everybody, but they get shot down immediately because their game wasn't tight. Their first date skills aren't on point. Why? Because they don't go on a million first dates. Pay attention here. The good guys aren't screwing with you. Just because he's not great on a first date doesn't mean he doesn't have all the traits of a guy that you could love forever. But he's not a serial dater, so that makes him not worthy. What are you measuring this on? You need a guy who's a man whore in order to feel like he's a good guy? Some bad guy is supposed to be a good man? It's funny. The bad boys are supposed to be good guys. It says on his resume he's going to sleep with all your friends, or at least try to. And you're yeah, but he's so strong and confident. What are you measuring this on? So now you're training these boys to be not good. Now 30% of the guys, the last 30%, they won't even play. In fact, that number is going up.
Really?
Guys won't play. Guys are not asking girls out anymore. All the way up to age 30. Men stopped asking women out. I got 3 teenage girls here. Nope. Boys aren't asking girls out anymore. You're a girl dad? Yeah, I got 3 girls.
I love that.
The boys don't ask girls out anymore. And if they do, it has to be where the girls are like, hey, it's okay. And then they'll do this weird prom thing where they make a cardboard thing. Promposals, yeah. Wasn't. But they only do it after confirmation. And that usually comes from the girl saying green light.
Confirmation of acceptance.
Correct.
And validation.
Otherwise, to go out there with like that rejection on public rejection, I think promposals are a terrible idea. Because what happens if this guy's like, I have a big sign saying, I love you and I want to go with you. And she's like, no. And you're like, oh, I don't know how to handle this. Everybody's looking. Like, no skills for that. Guys are, what a weird thing to do, to put a guy on some altar of embarrassment, you know, so they won't play. They're not playing on this. And a lot of girls these days have the illusion of options, thinking there's a million guys just waiting, lining up for them. So they treat guys like trash because they don't have the social skills to be like, yo, check out my sweet moves. I'm a player. You want to go on a date? And you're like, that's what I have to be in order for you to say yes? Why can't I be authentic or genuine? Why can't I actually care about what you have going on? Why can't I be interested in the things that make you happy? Oh no, I gotta be cool, right? Tough. What are we measuring this stuff on? So these boys, listen, I'm with you guys. How am I supposed to know what the hell I'm supposed to do? The scale is constantly sliding. Women or the girls are choosing bad guys and then calling all of us that when the majority isn't that. And so guys aren't playing. Now, this goes over to the other thing. This goes into the vices. This goes into the reasons why we don't have to play. You're a girl, Brooke.
I am.
If you post a bikini picture, will you get attention?
Yes, and gratefully I don't.
No, but would you? Because you know that, like, if you want attention, you are one underwear picture away from a whole lot of comments.
Correct.
No problem.
And some DMs.
You can do one of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, out of the woodwork, men you've never even heard of are like, you're so beautiful, you're so hot. You can get 10,000 likes, 10,000 comments.
Mm-hmm.
How does any guy compete with 10,000 confirmations of beauty? How can any guy compete? Like, even you're with the best guy and you're getting attention from thousands and thousands of people validating you. How does any one person compete with thousands to millions of people?
Yeah. And
how do you do that?
You really can't, right?
How does a guy get that kind of attention?
Focused on that validation and focused on that, you're not going to compete. As far as your question for men, I think certain professions.
Shut up. What profession can I post and get 10,000 likes immediately with no skills required?
Well, no skills required. I don't know about that.
Well, tell me what skills required for showing a butt.
Yeah, I don't know. None.
You just have to have a butt.
That, and some of these people be editing out here.
Sure, yeah, they will. Why? Attention, 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 validation, approval, acceptance, as much as you want, whenever you want. This is affecting girls. This is affecting girls hard. Because how does any one guy with the illusion of all of these options out there ever compete with that? Now let's go the other way with the boys.
Mm-hmm.
What's porn doing for our boys? They've done the math. Listen, as soon as they have their phone, I don't care, parents. For boys, these phones, what they do, these phones are for talking to your buddies, looking up sports and playing games, and porn. These are mobile porn hubs. That's what your phone is. I don't care what upbringing you're trying to say. I don't care what Jesus said. Your boys looking at naked pictures. That's happening. So what happens is I can now access any perversion, any level of beauty, anything that I want, even any number of girls at the same time. I can put any fantasy I want with no rejection. Zero rejection at all. I can look it up as much as I want and indulge myself as much as I want and be involved as much as I want. And nobody will ever turn me down. I'll never have any drama. I won't have any fights. I won't have any, you didn't meet my parents, or why did you talk to so-and-so? Nope. None of these girls argue. They're just submissively doing anything that you want, any way you want. I don't care how perverted you are. You can watch the grossest, weirdest shit ever, and people will do it.
Mm-hmm.
How's a girl compete with that? Because
and
if you come
very
with
difficult.
You come with any drama at all, you're already going backwards. How do you compete with, I can get anything that I want without rejection, and then a girl rejects a guy? The guys are going like, why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
we're shooting ourselves in the foot here. Girls can get all this attention that they want for acceptance at any time by being more risque and showing more skin and, getting rid of morals or standards from themselves. And the same thing for guys. Get rid of any kind of, loyalty that you would have for yourself to say, this is my partner, or anything that would go like, this is where my attention is, or even my level of perversion. Because you're seeing guys in their mid-20s now who have performance issues because they're so overstimulated by porn that having an actual, true, authentic interaction is boring.
Mm-hmm.
This is a real thing that's happening right now. You could be with a beautiful girl, but because I've been watching being with a harem of girls, I feel like there's something missing. And this isn't exciting to me. It's not about intimacy or connection or love. None of those are on the table. It's become transactional now.
Mm-hmm.
How do we fix this?
I want to know how we fix this, Rick, because we're getting down in the cynical valley here.
We are. And this is something where there has to be an awareness of the Epictetus compass. The circumstances, that's not who you are, but they are revealing you to yourself. Do you see who you really are? Do you see how you operate? Are you able to challenge yourself to go, damn it, I'm that person? Those are my vices. This is my addiction. This is the thing that I'm stuck into. This is the thing I won't quit. This is my dopamine rush. But this means we have to have a high level of denial for what is. And in order to feel better and not have to feel bad for not being that guy who gets the girl or having status or having the ability to be able to get your attention, I'm going to go into some sort of a vice. I'm going to pick one. I need something to make me feel better, whether it's numb with alcohol or it's going to be, like a dopamine rush from porn, or I'm going to go into, hey, let's go with the ladies. Let's go shopping online, or let's go ahead and get into social media attention. And hey, listen, there's all kinds of vices. You pick it. You can get into drugs. You can get into everything. I got lists of stuff. Attention is an addiction.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And so here we are. We have to fight this. First, you have to raise your awareness of yourself. And most people are not able to have the courage to go, that's who I really am. And is that who I want to be? We're not challenging our authenticity anymore. We go with whatever's available. Is this making us stronger or weaker?
Absolutely weaker.
And yet, no hesitancy. What happens when people are no longer interested in procreating? Not interested in asking somebody out or taking a risk to see if love can be a thing? Or if the illusion where it turns into I'm with you only because you look good, what means I'm always going to be looking for what looks good?
Right.
And if you're with a guy only because he's got money or he gives you things, you'll always be looking for the next level of things.
Mm-hmm.
So our entire relationships now become transactional with this type of system. Here's an opinion. It's not a popular one. Put your fucking phone down. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to the people you're with. Get curious. And this gets down to the last part where empathy wasn't there. Judgments are killing us all. Mm-hmm. It's ruining all of us. Gossip and betrayal and all these things. Either good or bad.
Self-judgment. That's huge.
Brutal. The comparison curses are there. So then, and not asking questions and not challenging. So the Carl Jung quote that I would improve on is thinking and empathy are hard. And that's why people judge instead. We're not doing introspection. So this is where I would say, where are we starting? Epictetus and Carl Jung. That's where I would start.
Mm-hmm.
You're revealing you to yourself. And instead of being able to have the accountability to ask questions to understand or try and be empathetic to what somebody's going through, I judge you and tell you you're bad. Your shirt's not the color I like. I don't like hair like that. Your shoes don't match. That doesn't go with this. You're too fat. You're too skinny. You're too tall. You're too whatever. You should do this. You should do that. You're not supposed to do that. We're all just controlling each other these days with judgments, blame, shame, and guilt.
Yeah.
Let's raise our awareness so we stop treating each other like we don't want to be treated. That's a good start.
Deep.
It's a good start, right? That'd be
It's a great start.
That'd be nice. I'll just treat you.
It would be a beautiful world.
Yeah, do you like somebody abusing you?
I don't.
Well, then let's not be abusive to people. Do you like when people steal your things?
I don't like that at all.
Let's just not take people's stuff then? Do you like when somebody uses you and throws you away like garbage?
No, I hate that.
Well, let's not do that to each other. I don't like that.
Look at us. We're solving the world's problems.
It starts off with the simplicity of being able to have awareness of you're that person who does those things.
Right.
And
we all have a bad habit, right?
Well, it's just good and bad really does come down to goals.
True.
Yeah. So
True. Like I'll tell people I'm forgetful. I get 250 messages a day. Sometimes I'm forgetful.
Well, how many messages are people supposed to be able to handle?
Right. And everyone has a different level that's comfortable to them.
But what's the right number?
Less than what I get.
250 is a lot.
It's a lot.
Let's say you blow up and it becomes 2,000 a day.
I gotta hire someone to answer my text messages at that point.
Right. So like, even still, if your wish comes true and I'm able to get as much, reach as I'm looking for, well, now I have a whole thing where my authenticity has just become somebody else has to answer my messages for me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good or bad?
Yeah. Right. And good or bad is such a hard question.
It's subjective. Yeah, I'll give you an example for good and bad. If I eat like 7,000 calories a day of like just McDonald's and junk food and sweets and candy, is that good or bad?
From my perspective, it's not so hot. I'm a celiac. Right? I don't do gluten.
Yeah, but my goal is to be on like that 600-pound life and that dude in the scooter, and I'm gonna be.
Well, if that is your goal, I want to be the big. Job.
I want to be the big guy. I think it's cool. I want to be the big guy on the little motorcycle. That's what I want to be.
Yeah, if that's your dream, you're working towards it.
It means I'm doing it good.
Yeah.
But if my goal is not to be that guy and I want to be in shape, well, then I better pay a little more attention to what I put in this machine, because I'm going to have a result that's going to go against my goal. And so if your goal is to be a total douchebag, like, you're doing the right thing when you're douchebagging everybody. But if you're trying to be a decent dude and you think that you're actually a good person and you're completely in denial of your reality because you're actually douchebagging everybody, maybe check yourself a little bit, because you're revealing you to you. Mm-hmm. Do you have the courage to actually challenge yourself and go, is that the kind of man that I want to be? Because I just did some bullshit that I wouldn't like done to me. Mm-hmm. Then maybe we can stay a little more loyal, a little more open, a little more empathetic. And ladies, I would push you on empathy. You're not doing a good job. I'm calling all of you out. You're not doing empathy. And empathy, just so you know, it's not, if I was you, I would feel like that too. That's not empathy. That makes it about you. Empathy is I can feel where you're coming from, not here's how I would feel if it was me. That's not empathy, in case you get it mixed up. And you know they do. Oh my God, if that was me, I would feel like this. And you're like, what's that got to do with what I'm actually going through?
We all have the one-upping friend.
Yeah. Canceled.
Oh my goodness. Wow, this has been riveting. I have a question for you. It's not going to be as hard as what I've been hitting you with.
Fire it off.
What is the one piece of advice or the one thing you want people to take out of this conversation? Because it's one of those conversations that you might fight against the first time you hear it, right? When we're confronted with hard truths like this, we don't always love it. It's not comfortable. It's not sexy. It's not always fun. But what's the one little golden nugget of truth that you hope someone can take away, even if they can only retain one little nugget of truth at this time and have to revisit some of this?
Here's if I was going to give a moment of actual truth here, people can't actually handle the truth. You know this, right? This is why people omit. They keep their secrets. This is why people don't share openly. People can't handle it. We don't have radical acceptance, and so we can't have radical truth. And so without that, what I would start off with is, if you're going to argue right and wrong, you're already wrong. I would lean really hard. If you're going to have any damn hope in this world, get humble. Humble. Be humility. Start off with you're not right. In fact, Socrates, even one of the ways that he would argue is like, I know nothing, because with how much information there is to know in the ocean of information, you barely have a bucket. And you're going to tell me you're right when you don't know even 1% of how much there is to know. In fact, the majority of what you don't know, you don't know. You don't know. Mm-hmm. You have no idea, even the category you don't even know about. A majority of what there is to know, you don't know. And there's a big part you don't know. Like I know there's stars. I don't know what the names of all of them are. I know there's bacteria, but I don't know what they all are. And I know there's fungi. There's millions and billions of them. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of bugs, but I don't know what they all are. I know I don't know that. But how many things do I not even know I don't know? Stay humble. Be open. Listen to understand. And quit tearing people down because you need to feel more important by tearing somebody else down. Stay humble.
Wow. I love that. It's true. And you took it in such a different direction at the end. It hit me. Good job, Rick. I got to give him a little clap out here. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And Rick, thank you for joining me. I've learned so much more than I thought I was going to learn today.
Well, I'm glad that I broke through the initial expectations.
Oh, he soared above my expectations. Thank you for joining us.
Click on the button and you can become the hero in your own story. It's time to start making the choices to change. And the evolution that you're going to do begins with choosing the next step. This is the way. And together, we're always stronger.